This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 254. Our very special guest today is Wallice. The indie rock musician and fellow jazz school dropout was recently in the country supporting the 1975, and we caught up with her backstage while in Adelaide. Before we get into our chat with Wallice, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and that you're following us across all of our socials. Details for all can be found within the show notes of this episode. Our guest today is Wallice. We previously had the LA-based indie rock musician on the podcast back in early 2021 in support of her debut EP, Off the Rails, and things have just been going gangbusters since for her. That same year, she signed to the indie label Dirty Hit, which is the home of artists like the 1975 and beabadoobee. She released a second EP, and she was also named an artist to watch by both Vogue and the New York Times. She returned in early April of this year with a brand new single in the form of Best Friend and the announcement of a forthcoming third EP entitled Mr. Big Shot, which is due out in late June. Wallice was recently touring around Australia as the support act for the 1975's Australian tour, and we did have the opportunity to sit down with her and chat while she was here. In today's episode, we are talking to Wallice about touring and how she remains sane. We also discuss what she watches while on the road. If you do remember our previous episode with Wallice, we did both discuss our mutual love of the short-lived TV series High Fidelity, so we kind of catch up on what Wallice has been watching since. We talk about this brand new forthcoming EP, Mr. Big Shot, which, by the way, is very, very good. And we talk to her about what it was like signing to Dirty Hit and the songwriting process for this EP. We do also discuss whether Wallice will be returning to Australia anytime soon, which, good news for any fans of Wallice, she is returning to Australia later this year. It's been some exciting news that we've had to keep secret for a few weeks now, but we do have a chat with her about those forthcoming dates of her return back to Oz. All of Wallice's socials and info on those tour dates can be found within the show notes of this episode, and we want to say a massive thank you to Rachel from Dirty Hit for her help with today's episode. Here is our conversation with Wallice.
But I hate that I need to, 'cause you are my best friend.
Please welcome back to This Song Is Yours, Wallice. Hello.
Hello.
How are we?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. I don't know if you would remember. Actually, firstly, welcome to Australia. We're sitting here in Adelaide
Thank
today.
you. Yeah, it's my first time here. I got here Friday, perhaps? Nope, Thursday really late. Well, I went to Perth first.
Yes.
And it was sleepy vibes because it was Good Friday, which I've never had any city I was in celebrate that. So.
We were discussing just before we started recording, we've picked a really interesting time to start the tour because everything's closed for public holidays while you're here. How has the first few days of the tour been so far?
Yeah. Well, my first date with 1975 was in Bangkok last week.
Yes.
That was crazy because I was so nervous. That was my biggest show. And this tonight is my my biggest show. They're beating that one. And then it's just going to get bigger and bigger, which is scary. But it'll be chill. But that was really cool. And I'm excited to be here. It's been really nice weather.
Yeah.
And I'm from LA, so usually I have really nice weather.
Mm-hmm.
But last month I was doing like a US tour, so we're in very cold climates. So I'm happy to be in the sun.
Of course. Well, I'm glad we could provide something for you, even if the shops aren't open. As you just mentioned, I think, was it the Thailand show was the first arena that you've done?
Yeah.
Yeah, how was that like?
It was really crazy, like walking on for sound check, seeing how big it was. I was like shaking in my boots. And then once I started playing the show, I was like, why is my voice so like nervous? Like I felt okay, but my voice was like not there with me. And then like halfway through I was like, okay, it's the same show. It's the same thing. Why am I in my head I'm making it so different?
You're building it up more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the show in Perth was like 5,500 people.
Mm.
And then this, I think, is like 11,000. So it's like double.
Yeah.
But the one on 5,500, I wasn't nervous at all. I was like, this is chill.
And then
Just another day in the office. But then today I'm a little bit nervous again.
I love the like cavalier kind of, it's just another day. It's great.
Yeah, 5,500, nothing. Even though I don't usually play that big of places.
I'm sure that, I think, well, as you said, that this is just going to become the norm for you. I feel like that this is pretty exciting. I know that for anyone who's not aware listening to the podcast, that you are here supporting the 1975 and that there are lots of people that I've seen on social media really excited to come early and see yourself. What has the social engagement with Australian fans been like so far?
Well, I've only had the one Australian show, and then I also try to do like Instagram Live when I like get ready for shows. And so usually when I'm on Instagram Live, it's the complete wrong time for Australia. So now it's like Australians are awake, and I have more Australian fans than I thought. And being an opener, like you don't really expect that like the room that you're playing to know your music, but it's nice to see at least a couple comments and messages where they're like, I'm going to be seeing you on Wednesday. I'm like, okay, at least one person knows one song. Because it's especially with like, I mean, any opening show, but like 1975, they're like diehard fans. And so sometimes it's the vibe. I can see it in some people. They're like, okay, let's get going. Where's Maddie? But hopefully I win some more people over every night.
I reckon you'll be. I did see some footage from the Perth show, and it seems that that there were people really getting into it who very much they got into 23. They got into a number of songs off the previous two EPs. Before we get to the news of a brand new EP which you announced last week, I did want to touch on very quickly because you've toured halfway across the world. I believe that you're touring further once this tour is kind of done. I don't know if you remember. You and I spoke around the support of your first EP Off the Rails in 2021, and we were speaking at the time about how criminally underrated High Fidelity was, the TV show, and why, for whatever reason, they cancelled it, which is terrible. But I'm curious, while you're on tour, what is it that kind of gets you through? Because there's lots of airports, there's lots of travelling, lots of hotel rooms.
I was just watching, I just finished it on the plane like 3 days ago, Daisy Jones and the Six. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really fun because it's like weird that it's about a fake. Have you watched it at all, or do you know about it?
I know the premise of it. I haven't watched all of it yet. Yeah.
So it's like about a fake band that's never existed, but it's like Fleetwood Mac vibes in the 70s, and like they eventually like tour arenas and stuff. And I'm like, it was like funny that just came out, and like now I'm gonna be touring arenas. It's pretty cool, and that was fun. I love shows, watching TV. We've been watching Love Is Blind.
Oh yeah.
A couple nights, like our band, group session of watching Love is Blind. And I just started Swarm.
Oh, yes, that's on my list as well.
We just watched
so far?
one episode on the plane yesterday, and it was really good.
Yeah? Okay.
It was really good.
All right.
I'm excited to watch more. Yeah.
Definitely adding that to putting the priority up to the top of the list. As we mentioned, there is a brand new EP that has been announced for yourself. It is called Mr. Big Shot. It is out the end of June, if I'm correct.
I think so. I
believe
think so.
Around June. I'm going to say June
Probably.
23rd, if that's a Friday, whatever that Friday is.
Oh, that's news to
congratulations.
me.
Well, congratulations, yes.
I don't know when things come out. But we were on tour last month, and Best Friend just came out last week. And on that tour, I was like, this song's coming out soon. What day? April. Something. But yeah, I'm really excited. This EP we started writing. One of the songs is a lot older than the rest, but most of this EP was written in or started in London last year when I was there for a couple shows and just did a bunch of sessions because my label Dirty Hit is based out there, and so they have a studio we were working out of for a bit. So the songs have been written for a while now, almost a year, but then we finally finished them up. It feels like a long time, but really a year is not that long for some people to make music. But we finished those up in by the end of the year last year. So I'm glad that they're finally coming out. The first one was Best Friend. And this EP is the first time that I've worked with other producers and writers. Producers and not really writers, but they do write sometimes. It's all classifications. Rather than the first two EPs I just made with Marinelli, who I've known since I was 10, who I always talk about. He's one of my best friends as well. And then after I started them with other producers, then he comes in and makes them cohesive with the rest of my work. But yeah, this next EP is called Mr. Big Shot, and I'm really excited about it.
I am very excited as well. Your label was very kind enough to send through a copy, so thank you for that. And we had a listen to it. I've been listening to it the last few days, and sonically, I think this is the most alternative rocky that you've been.
Yeah, I think so. It goes a little harder.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could say that.
There was, what was it? I don't want to give away too much because, one, I want fans to be surprised. Two, I don't want to get in trouble with the label, obviously. There was one song that had elements of car seat headrest. There was one song that reminded me of In Rainbow's era Radiohead.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's one we play on tour right now. In this opening set, I assume that no one, I go in thinking no one knows my music anyway, so I'm playing some new songs. Anyway, there's 3 off the new EP that we're playing. Yeah, 3.
Okay, cool.
But one of them's Best Friend, so 2 of them now are not out yet. And one of them is that. I've listened to Radiohead since I was little. It's my probably all-time favorite band, and so we definitely just ripped it off. You can hear it. You can hear rip-offs of Radiohead throughout all my music, I think.
I'm not going to complain, though. That's still a great thing. When you're in the studio working with those producers and writers, as you said, is it that you have clear sonic inspirations that are on in the background, or will you take a song that you've written and kind of go, I want it to sound like this, whatever band it may be song?
I guess sometimes you go in a studio and you have 1 or 2 days with a random producer you've never met, but usually I like their work if I'm working with them, and sometimes the question, usually it starts off with maybe 20 minutes to an hour of just talking and what's up, getting to know each other, and then they're well, should we make some music? What have you been listening to recently? And then I think I can't remember necessarily what I was listening to at this time, but I could probably look at my Spotify liked and pinpoint direct references kind of. Sometimes it's like that, or a lot of the time too I just start jamming with whoever I'm with. Like, Marinelli will put, like, a drum beat, and then I'll just, like, noodle around on the guitar or something, or he'll do the keys. But I don't necessarily go in thinking that often, like, oh, I want to do a song like this. But Best Friend, actually, no, I take that back. Best Friend, I think, was, like, one of the few, maybe the only song where I did come in with, like, I want to make a song like this, because it was like, okay, this was before he got canceled, but Rex Orange County. I don't actually ever listen to him, but he does. I did hear, like, one song. I don't even know what song it was, but it was like, it made you want to, like, put a lighter up and like do this, like wave your hand in the air, like flashlights at a concert. And I was like, I want to make a song where people want to do that and sing along. And I don't know if this is that song, but you know,
yeah,
you can kind of hear it.
100%. I think especially, I'm going to apologise in advance because I'm going to get the musical theory of it wrong. But it's like in the chorus, how it's like going, I'm not even going to sing. It's embarrassing to sing someone else's song in front of them. But how, like, in the chorus.
Dude, I want to hear it.
For anyone who can't see, Wallace just shot the most menacing look. How it's like going down the, I can't describe it. Best friend. Yeah, so I'm very sorry that I had to put you through that.
No.
But, like, I can see that working quite well.
Yeah, exactly that.
Best friend. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember what, I guess, inspired the lyrics behind Best Friends? Because we've been talking about the sonics, but what was, I guess, the lyrical inspiration for that song? I feel like a lot of people can relate to this song through friendship or, like, romantic partnership. I've been with my boyfriend for 8 years since we're in high school, so it's not about romantic heartbreak, but it is actually, like, about various friendships. I think a lot of my music I purposely make it almost sound romantic, but really it is about, like, lost friendships rather than, because I don't have, like, lost romantic relationships. But this is about, like, I can pinpoint, like, 3 friendships that have just, like, grown apart or falling out kind of thing. And sometimes you think about them and you, like, even though you know it's, like, in the past, it's not something you should focus on, but there's still, like, elements of everyone that's in your past that you can miss easily. 100%. Is it when you are lyrically writing about, I guess, relationships and trying to make it both in a general sense and also, as you said, you've been with your partner for a long period of time, with those kind of songs, I guess, is it difficult to have a feeling about something and then try and generalize it, or is it you would take it to your partner and he'll be like, what the hell?
No, he plays guitar on most of the music. Like, he records guitar on a lot of my music too. I think if you really do listen to it, it isn't, like, romantic. And I don't necessarily alter it to sound. I mean, I can't, like, if the lyrics are, like, written out, I'd be like, oh, well, actually this. But, or it's just, like, for fun. But also on this EP, which one? I think, like, 2 of them are kind of, like, my version of, like, a love song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I don't think I can say the name yet, though. I don't know.
We won't push for it. We can bleep it out later. Yeah. I would love to know, I guess, the inspiration of, like, what brought you to songwriting to begin with and lyric writing. Because I think when we spoke previously, we did discuss your introduction to music. I think it was oh my God, not clarinet. It was the recorder and the trumpet that first got you.
That's a good memory.
I try.
That was really good.
They let me in the door for some reasons.
Yeah. So I grew up playing instruments, more like classical training, but it was, like, public school, so I never took it, like, too seriously. I mean, obviously I did, though, because that's my job now, so I took it more seriously than some. But when I was, like, probably 11 or 12. I have had like the same keyboard since I was like 2 for some reason. It's just like a cheap Yamaha keyboard, and I learned to play like chords on it just through looking up online.
This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
What piano notes were, and then I had my musical knowledge already, so I kind of taught myself piano, which is not that hard to do if you know a little bit of music, I think. I don't know. And I made a song about the boy who didn't love me back in middle school, because I liked him for a long time, and he never liked me back.
Where is he now, huh? Not with the
I don't know.
1975.
He doesn't have a social media presence, which is so irritating. I want to see. Just curious. Yeah. But I wrote a song about him not loving me back, and my mom was like, "This is amazing." And so she's always like supported me and been like, "You have a gift." And then that's when I went to like performing arts high school and started singing, like actually, because before that I was just like, I never thought I would sing. I was just a cello player for most of the time. Yeah.
Well, mentioning the cello, and I think the other thing we mentioned last time when we spoke was I think you and I share a mutual. We both dropped out of. You dropped out of jazz school. I dropped out of music university here, but for jazz. So I say the same.
Yeah.
Do you find that any of those classical elements that you learnt somewhere, and some of those jazz elements, somewhere maybe lost, retained in the back of the brain, ever kind of come out in the music that you're making now for Wallice?
I think so. I think sometimes the way I sing or can find what chord should come next is definitely music theory based, or just, music theory. And then sometimes like the way I sing could be a little jazzy. And it's also really funny too, like my band is all jazz musicians. Like that's how they aren't necessarily jazz. No, they are. They're jazz musicians. Like my drummer studied jazz drumming and then switched to art history major, but he still like studied jazz drumming at USC. And then my boyfriend has a studio Cal, my guitar player, has a studio jazz degree. And then Alina, who plays bass for me now, studied jazz guitar but has an environmental science degree. So they all kind of are, other than Cal, kind of jazz school dropouts in a way, but they also have degrees.
I love that though. It's kind of like a shared. What's the word? There's. I feel like there's almost like a language spoken between all of you that you can kind of share. Yeah.
Like I think it makes them able to learn music really quickly compared to maybe just someone who's like a self-taught guitar player who could be really good, but just knowing the theory behind it really helps sometimes.
The EP is coming out, you mentioned before, on Dirty Hit. This is the other thing I wanted to congratulate you on, because, since that last time we spoke, you signed to Dirty Hit, which is the home of the 1975, beabadoobee, Rina Sawayama, Japanese House. I'm trying to list all of them now, but I won't go through.
No, keep going.
This is a test. Which is a huge deal. Congratulations on that, because I imagine that's a very exciting kind of step to take as an artist.
It was obviously a huge decision of who to sign with. A lot of people hold out for a long time before they choose a label, but Dirty Hit said all the right things to me, and I really love everyone who works there, and even now I've been with them for like a year and a half, which is crazy, and they've supported all my dreams, and I don't have any complaints, honestly. And I think that's very rare for someone to say about their label.
100%.
And I'm opening for 1975, which is insane, and I opened for beabadoobee last year, so I don't think that would have... It's like a family, family affair.
I was going to comment on that because it does seem like what was it? One of the first ever bands like in 2020 that we had on the podcast was Black Star Kids, signed to Dirty Hit, and it seems like there is this real community kind of base. Like Maddie and Bea did vocals on one of their things. I think everyone kind of shares. What's the right word? It does seem like it is a very collaborative kind of label to be attached to.
Yeah, I'm not British, so I don't necessarily feel... I'm like a cousin. I'm like a cousin across the sea.
Okay.
But like the other day, Maddie and George came up and they're like, how you going? And they're very sweet. And I've met Maddie once before this, but I mean, he's like a superstar. He doesn't necessarily have to come up and say, like, you would think that's like the decent thing to do, but not everyone does that at shows and stuff. And he was very sweet.
Were you, which is lovely to hear. I'm very glad to hear that because I think...
he has an interesting reputation. But he's very sweet.
Were you a 1975 fan before Dirty Hit, but before landing this tour? Yes, somewhat, maybe middle ground. You knew some songs.
I definitely... I mean, I didn't necessarily listen to them growing up. My bass player did, but also it's really funny, like, Marinelli, who has produced all my stuff, is a die-hard 1975 stan, or was growing up at least. So he always says, he's like, it's so funny that you're opening up for them and you signed to like their label because I've been trying to rip off their music in your music the entire time. And I was like, but I never
it's like
really...
full circle.
Yeah, and I love this new album. Like, also as a live band, they're amazing. I think that even the older songs that I hadn't listened to, like, I really enjoy watching these last two shows. And we'll probably watch the show every night on tour, like,
of course,
12 times.
Is there anything that you've seen? I know we're only 2 shows in. It's kind of unfair to ask this. That you've seen in their live show that you kind of want to apply or put into your own live show?
I mean, I saw also their US tour in November.
Yeah.
That was with like the full set. They couldn't bring an entire house here for some reason. But that one was really incredible. Like, it was almost like a Broadway stage set. And like, that's really cool and how they utilize that. But just like the other night, it was in Perth. It was Maddie's birthday. And they did like a bunch of old songs that I don't think they usually play. And everyone was so hyped for it. It was really fun to see. But I like in their show, they kind of keep it, they like kind of have like a surprise every night. Because doing the same set every night does get tiring and boring. Like, even this set we're running, we did almost the same set for the last month. And so I'm kind of like, how do I spice this up? But like in Thailand, this guy brought a sign that said, let me play guitar on Robbers.
Yes.
And he literally was like, can you actually play? Okay, come up. And he had him play guitar on stage. Just this like random guy. And that was really fun. Like, it really made it fun to just even see him. And I was thinking when that happened, I was like, I've been so nervous today. How did this guy just get up on stage and play guitar? And then the other night, I think it was just a completely new set. even though because they have been touring this album for a while now.
Yeah.
I just like the spontaneity.
Yeah.
Which a lot of live shows don't have anymore. I feel like they used to. Rock and roll used to.
I'm going to go outside and give one of the people lining up a sign saying, "Let me play guitar on 23," and watch them.
And they're not going to know how to play it. They're going to be like...
I'm going to teach them that as well. I'll be out front for a while. That was the other thing I wanted to quickly touch on songwriting before we talk more about touring, was I think in this new EP there was one song which Please Forgive Me. Actually, I'm not even sure if I can mention it, so maybe I won't. But in this song you mention approaching 25 and you self-reference your old song 23.
No, I think we could say this one because I played it live a couple times.
Okay.
It's called Quarter Life.
Yes, Quarter Life Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it like when you're kind of... Because I feel like Dirty Hit, that's the other thing, is that a number of their acts, especially young Matthew Healy, are quite self-referential. How does that process, I guess, in terms of like looking at it, how did you come across writing that line or that kind of sentence structure, sorry?
I think a lot of my music is kind of self-deprecating. I try not to take myself too seriously because I don't think that's fun. And I like to be funny. The line is, now I'm pushing 25. Now I am 25 as of last week.
Yes,
this song
happy
was
birthday.
written prior. But I think it's funny also, like 23 is my most streamed song. And I sing it every night at the end. And I say I can't wait to be 23 when I'm 25. I'll sing it till I'm probably... Maybe after 30 I'll retire it. Or once another song kicks it out of the top stream for me. But it's kind of weird because at times I think like I am very young as a 25-year-old in the world. But in the music industry, it's really easy to feel old fast. I think just like music industry... acting, like all the entertainments. It's weird. Like, especially turning 25, seeing about 23 every day. But I think I'm worried recently that I'm not, like, growing. It's obviously always in my head, like, when I take a look back and see, it's like, clearly there's a little growth there. But it's easy to think. I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
No, I appreciate that. Maybe where are we? In another 8 years' time, you can do like what Taylor Swift has done, like Taylor's version. You can do like Wallice's version 33 or like whatever it may be. We've just been talking about songwriting and touring, and I believe it is announced that you are also coming back to Australian shores in October to play South by Southwest and your own shows.
I don't think it's announced, but it should be in these next... By the time this is up,
yes,
I'm sure.
By the time this is
up.
Exactly.
I have a couple shows of my own, which is crazy. We just put up like a whole bunch of shows in the UK and the US of my own headline tour, and before that I was like, I don't know if anyone's gonna come, and so even still, like, Australian, I was like, who's gonna come to those? Hopefully people do come. I'm excited.
I am sure people...
Hopefully I'll make some new fans too.
100%.
I just like can't think about how people would like live so far away from me and still listen to my music, you know?
Which is fair though. I can imagine it's a strange thought to be sitting on one side of the world and thinking whatever you've come up with in your bedroom, in the lounge room studio, is now resonating with people in Thailand, as we sit here in Adelaide, Australia.
In Australia, Thailand, I had an interview last month, like on the phone, and the girl was in India, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so excited to interview. Like, I'm a little bit nervous. I told my friends, and we were all freaking out." I was like, "What? Like multiple people listen to me in India, not just only you? Like, that's crazy."
I did mention to a few people that I was coming to speak to you today, and they were very excited. And there were multiple, so again, similar to India, even just with Adelaide,
There's at
Australia.
least 5.
Oh, I'm going to say at least a
5.
good 10. At least a good 10.
Yeah, I think I could sell 10 tickets. I'm confident in 10.
I have no doubt those shows are going to sell out. We might catch up later in October and do this again, and I'm sure that there'll be a sold out signs all across those posters.
Yeah.
I am very excited for you because it does look like a really comprehensive touring schedule that you have for the next
It sure
6
is.
to 10 months.
I'm not home much. I got a dog last year, and she's living, like, I got her to my mom's, and my mom's like, oh, you're going to get her in June, right? I was like, like July, maybe August.
What kind of dog?
I got she's like I guess you guys don't know pounds here, because she's small. She's a pit bull, but she's not like a big, beefy pit bull. Maybe, let me guess kilograms. 18 kilograms.
Okay.
So smaller.
Yeah.
She's not
quite small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got her in August. I was like, oh, I'm home for a little bit. Let me foster a dog. Obviously, it's not a foster dog. Obviously, I was going to adopt her. But I miss her very much.
Oh, hopefully you do get to spend some time with your dog when you're home.
But I am very excited to tour. Like, it literally is a dream come true that I've wanted for many, many years. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy that people spend their money to come see me.
Is there anything that you do, I guess, that keeps you sane while you're on the road in terms of, like, could be rituals, it could be just things to read, or more so photos, whatever it is that keeps you
I don't
sane.
really read too much. I brought 3 books, and I've read a fourth of one.
Okay.
I am really lucky my boyfriend's on tour with me. That makes it so much easier.
Yep.
So, like, on planes and stuff, it's not like you're next to 2 strangers. I always get to sit next to him and, like, invade his personal space, and he's very sweet, and he lets me. I have a heating pad. Mm-hmm. I love heating pads. I truly think I'm, like, cooking my back every night. I think I'll have spine problems when I'm old, because it's like, there's no way this is good for you. But it's so cozy. And I have so much stuff. It's stressful every day, but I love having my stuff with me, like clothes. I love clothes. That's probably what keeps me sane.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I appreciate all of that. Wallice, usually, like we would ask, I guess, what they're currently listening to at the moment. As we discuss, you're on planes, trains, kind of always in transit.
Let me look what I'm listening to.
Easy.
I like the new Lana Del Rey album. Mm-hmm. We've been listening to some house music.
Okay.
Because when we're in the, like, van in the U.S., sometimes there's, like, 11-hour drives, and it's really easy to get tired of listening to the same indie music all the time, because that's only what I listen to usually. So we'd be like, okay, we would joke, like, this next hour is house hour, and just, like, put on a long house song. And then this song in particular, Ventura Highway by America, really
solid,
going hard. There's a lot of new releases this last week, like Blonde Shell's album.
Yes, fantastic record.
Oscar Lang's new song, My Label Mate.
I was going to say.
And Friend.
Yes.
And I'll choose one more. Let's see. I don't know. Those are what I choose.
All very solid picks still. All very, very solid choices. Wallice, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, and congrats on the brand new single, Best Friend, and the brand new EP, which is coming out in June, Mr. Big Shot. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you in October when you're back.
Yeah. Thanks for having me again.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you? If people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else. Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.